I think we're well past the point where it can be said without hesitation or hyperbole that those who continue to promote either side of the corporate media machine or the corporate uniparty circus are only here to protect their own fame and their fortune in this world while suppressing what they know to be true about all these psychopaths, whether you're talking about Kamala Harris or whether you're talking about Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And one of those people that I suspect is not stupid, but is still promoting the left versus right paradigm lie, which leads to destruction, which leads to tyranny. I don't care if it's red tyranny or blue tyranny, it's still tyranny. This is one of those psychological operators. I can't help but think Matt Walsh is one of those psychological operators, like the psychological operators and propagandists we see on the left side of statism. But he's a psychological operator nonetheless, who's constantly striving to sow division and drive a wedge in between Americans. If America falls, the world is pretty much gone. I'm going to go over this video right here by Matt Walsh. He says, I don't want to get too sappy, but I felt moved to give this word of encouragement to Kamala voters today. Listen to this. And I don't care if it's tongue in cheek or whatever. Matt Walsh knows what he's doing. He knows who he's playing for, and he knows what truth he's hiding so that evils can rise to the top. Listen to this.
We've had our fun with these videos. We've sipped from the chalice of leftist suffering. We've satiated our thirst with the sweet nectar of liberal tears. But I do want to get serious for just one moment and offer a word of encouragement to these people. It may seem funny to us, but they are truly worried that Donald Trump will be an evil dictator. And I think it'd be irresponsible and frankly pretty cruel of me if I didn't take a second to reassure them on that point. So, in all seriousness, all jokes aside, no, Donald Trump is not going to be an evil dictator. He's going to be a good dictator. So don't worry. Yes, Trump is going to be dictator for life. When he dies, his throne will be passed down to Baron Trump, and the Trump dynasty shall reign for 1,000 years. But it's all for your...
I know this is tongue in cheek, but is it really? I mean, this is the guy who, along with the Daily Wire and the Daily Caller and all rightist media, told you that it'd be a good idea to go out and vote, go out and demoralize and dehumanize yourself and give your consent away to somebody you know to be a psychopath. Same thing happened on the left. Don't get me wrong. The Brian Tyler Cohens of the world, the Midas Touches of the world, the Dave Packmans, the Young Turks, all the leftists wanted you also to demoralize and dehumanize yourself by going out there and voting for somebody you know is a psychopathic political parasite under the big top like Kamala Harris. Trump is and will always be subservient to Israel. Kamala Harris is and will always be subservient to Israel. Matt Walsh knows this. Don't think for a second that he doesn't know this. This is how the game is played. And these are the players. These are the people who get the clicks, they get the views, they get the monetization, they get the premium ad revenue. And it's all because the powers who shouldn't be, the corporate media elite and the banking elite, love it when we're divided. That's how you conquer a nation. You have to divide them first. And what better way to do that than to tap into their tribal mentality, team red, team blue. We know it's so easy to screw over you.
Your own good. Is Trump going to take away all of your rights? Absolutely not. Not all of them. You'll still have the right to agree with Trump and praise him always. Is Trump going to take away voting rights from women? Again, no. Women will have the right to vote for whoever their husbands tell them to vote for, which will always be Trump. Will Trump intentionally spray more CO2 into the air to cause more global warming, melt the ice caps intentionally, raise global temperatures to tropical levels? Yes, obviously. It's only the coastal states that voted against him in this election, and so now they must be drowned to pay for their sins. The rest of us get to enjoy warm summer weather all year round. So it's basically a win-win. So in that way, all of your fears are valid. And this was all laid out in Project 2025, like you said. It was all there. It's like on page 1. But it won't be as bad as you think. trust me, in a few months, you won't be complaining anymore because you won't be allowed to. And I hope that makes you feel better.
This is pretty interesting, and this is an example of hiding the truth in plain sight. Oh, Brian, this is tongue-in-cheek. You know he's just kidding around. Is he really? Did you see who he just appointed? Do you know what's going on? Do you see who he's beholden to? Do you see the warnings and the warning signs? And it's more than a warning sign. It's blatantly obvious what team he's playing for. This is Donald Trump. This is what we warned you about. And only a corrupt man willfully remains blinded to the blatant evils of those who reward him with power. And who do you think rewarded this guy with power? Just take a guess. So when somebody like this comes forward and just says something, oh, it's just sappy, it's just humorous. Hey, I want to let Kamala Harris voters know that it's okay. He's not going to be an evil dictator. He's going to be a good dictator, and you won't have any choice in the matter. This is the world we're living in. This is the height of deception, and it's not even really deceptive anymore. They're just showing you broad spectrum out in the open. Here's what we're doing. Here's what's going to happen. And you're going to have to live with this. I mean, it wasn't bad enough that he was the father of the VAXX. It wasn't bad enough that he headed up the military industrial complex led Operation Warp Speed. It wasn't bad enough. I like take the guns first due process, second a red flag gun confiscation laws. It wasn't bad enough that he had added $8.4 trillion to the national debt, now counting $6.2 trillion for the CARES Act, which effectively caused $4 trillion right off the top to evaporate and go into the hands of the richest among us, the corporate owners and the bankster owners, the Zio political parasitic overlords and puppet masters who control the issuance and the value of our currency. It's not enough that he led a room full of people, a room full of dignitaries in a standing ovation the very day he swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. He led a standing ovation for Bill and Hillary Clinton, pointed over at them and said, I got a lot of respect for those two people right there. I'm very, very honored that they're here. It's not enough that this guy was good friends for decades and decades with Henry Kissinger. It's not enough. It's not enough. And now he's turned his back on America first, and he's gone with Israel first. How do we know? All you got to do is look at his appointments. This is what it's all about. This is who he bows down to. This is who he serves. If you think this is America first, we're in for a very, very interesting next 4 years. What is America going to be like in a decade from now? What is going to happen? If you want to support this channel, the support links are in the description below. I don't see anybody. Alex Jones isn't blowing the whistle on this. I don't see a whole lot of people out there. I mean, there are some, don't get me wrong, but they don't have huge platforms. I don't see the Joe Rogans of this world, the Theo Vaughns of this world, the Nelk boys. I don't see anybody exposing what's really going on. I don't see Dave Smith exposing this, even though he's got a lot of right words. He went out there and voted for somebody that he calls a warmonger. And I went over this in my last video. But you have to understand what's going on here. You have to see what's going on, and you have to see the hypocrisy. Here's Dave Smith's post, just in case you haven't seen it. And you got to read it for yourself. You can't just believe what other people said. You can't just take their word for it and say, oh, Brian said it, or Alex Jones said it, or this person said it, or I saw it on the news. Read what these people actually say for themselves and then hold them accountable. This is Dave Smith. He's basically saying about Trump, he is a war criminal who should spend the rest of his life in jail. As I've said countless times, he said this countless times, and yet he will continue to demoralize and demean and dehumanize himself by voting for somebody that he himself says is a war criminal who deserves nothing but jail time. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you want. Hit the bell if you want. Like, share this video if you want. But this is getting truly, truly ridiculous and out of hand. The only way we stop it is by standing up and doing right and being righteous in a dark world. I'll see you in the next video.